Welcome to the Shifting Focus podcast. My name is John Bunn, and I am here to help you get unstuck from the middle market. Today, I brought my friend Rena Wiser from Event Lab 1, based in Tampa, Florida, to be on the podcast. She and I did a wedding in North Carolina last summer. She was awesome. I loved working with her. I loved her vibe, and I knew I wanted to get her on the podcast. We talk about how she got unstuck from the middle market. We talk about what things that vendors do to get on her good side, her bad side. We just talk about her brand, how she's grown it, how she has moved into high-end weddings, six-figure weddings, and plans all over the place, based in Florida, like I said, but doing destinations. A great conversation. I know it's going to help you a ton. Before we get into today's episode, I want to mention my friends at VidFlow. If you didn't know, VidFlow is one of our sponsors, and they help me deliver my wedding films and my wedding photos in style. A custom gallery uploader. I upload all my videos, my photos. I can deliver them to clients and add that elevated vibe. I embed it into my website. It makes it so easy for the clients to download their films, download their photos, and honestly, the built-in templates make it drag and drop so easy. Check out the show notes for specials with VidFlow. And with that, let's hop into this week's episode with Rena Wiser of Event Lab 1.
I love this for us. So I started out, I was doing events for Red Bull, Rockstar Energy Drink. I worked in the new age beverage space, and the natural progression from that felt like getting into the liquor industry. Obviously, at the time, there was a much bigger market for it there. But I ended up getting sick. I got cancer, twice actually. But the first time, I just kind of had to make the decision that, was I going to continue down this path of working for the man, doing it that way for, what felt like good pay at the time, but I was overworked, I was burned out, and now I was going through cancer treatment. So I kind of made the decision on the fly to start Event Lab. And, obviously it's terrifying because you don't have all of those things to fall back on that corporate America can offer. And so, of course, I was hesitant, but excited, and I didn't really have anything to lose at that point. So I kind of went for it. And really, like I had talked about previously when I was telling you I did that podcast with Jason, was that, you just kind of start to reach out to your network and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Who wants to work with me? What can we do? How can we get there? And so fast forward to when my business was somewhat established, I was saying yes to everything because, you want to build your business, you want to build your brand. And it's interesting when you even say you're trying to build your brand because you have no idea what that's going to be, what that's going to evolve into. You think you know what you want it to be, but when you start saying yes to everything and doing everything because you need to make a living, then it sort of gets saturated and you're not really doing it your way. So a couple years into owning Event Lab, I only did corporate, nonprofit, social events. I wasn't doing any weddings. And I started to realize that a lot of my clients were saying, hey, my daughter's getting married. Could you do her wedding? Or, my son is engaged. I should recommend you for this. Or, my coworker. Well, I needed to learn the wedding industry. It's a very different industry. I knew events, but I didn't really know that part of it. So fun fact that not a lot of people know. I went and I had an established business already, Event Lab, 5 years into owning my company. And I went and worked for a wedding planner for free. She didn't pay me $1 for a year to learn the business. And I mean, she put me to work. I was dragging shibari chairs through the sand back and forth. Like I was doing it from the ground up. And what was amazing about that was I learned so much about the wedding industry, about what I wanted to do, and also about what I didn't want to do. And when I decided to launch the wedding portion of my business, I was like, this is it. This is going to be make or break, where I become that planner that I just turn and burn it every weekend, hate it, hate the grind, like I'm so over it, or I'm going to put myself out there. Like these are the types of weddings we're going to do.
I love that. And that's a great intro. Yeah, usually I will tee things up. You just started talking good stuff, and I was like, let me hit the record button. So to rewind back, you and I did a wedding together last year in North Carolina together, a destination wedding for both of us. I was introduced to you. We got along really well. A couple was super rad, super cool. We had
Yeah.
some hurdles we had to overcome with other, not vendor, other things. And so I just got to watch you kind of have this calming presence. You got stuff done. You had these vibes. It was like, oh, I like working with her. This is good. She knows who she is. She's, you trusted me with what I needed to do. You just had your crap together, for lack of better terms. And I want, like with this podcast, I love introducing my audience to people that I've worked with, that I've had, that I would recommend to other couples and things like that. And I love the perspective of a planner. A lot of the audience are photographers and videographers, but we definitely have planners and florists and stationers and all kinds of people in the industry. And before hitting record, just talking to you about getting out of the middle market, and you said so many things in that little couple minutes that you were just talking about, like getting experience before, like actually launching and knowing who you want to serve and who you don't want to serve.
Right.
I want to dig into that in this episode, but I want to kind of paint a picture of your business today, whatever you're comfortable sharing. Maybe the budget range of your clients that you're working with, a little bit of kind of how your pricing would work, so the industry can kind of hear a little bit of like where you would say you sit in the market, and a little bit of that. So like, who do you serve? What's your ideal, situation with work? Who do you want to work with? And then maybe looking at 25 and 2026, what kind of range of pricing for weddings are you doing?
Sure. Well, one, thank you for having me. It's an
You're welcome.
honor. I absolutely loved working with you and your team on that wedding. It was a blast. Obviously, when the planner and the photography, videography team can just have that like cohesive dynamic, it made the weekend feel like so effortless to the bride and the groom, and that's what's important. And it was awesome. We had a blast. So when you invited me on your podcast, there was only one answer, and it was yes.
Well, thank you.
So I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Um, it, with regards to the type of clients I want to serve, anyone as long as they're cool and they trust that we're going to have their back. And that is the reason that they're hiring a planner, not so that they can have a $150,000 wedding for $75,000, not so that they can drag me through the mud. Do I end up being their therapist? Of course, because there's dynamics, particularly in the wedding world, that we don't run into in the corporate and social world. So I certainly could not just plan weddings. Shout out to wedding planners who only do that. And I definitely couldn't see myself ever going back to only doing nonprofit galas, corporate, social type events, because they're so different for so many reasons. In the wedding industry, they care. They care about like all of the details. These couples, it's the most important day of their lives, and they care so much about that, which makes me care so much about it. And then you're able to get beautiful images that once that 1 or 2 day party is over, they're going to look back on forever and cherish. And so when I can tell at a consult when a couple is in that right mind space. Not that they're not all doing it for the right reasons, that they want to get married and they want to have a beautiful wedding, but it's about celebrating their love with their favorite people, not about pining over all of the little details. That's what you have me for.
Hmm.
And you're not going to hire me if you don't believe that. Um, Now, the financial piece of it is a little bit different. Um, so, where I price myself is a little bit different than some of my peers in this market. Um, a lot of folks will price based on a percentage. So, if they have a certain budget, they price based on that. Um, I have found that when you do that to a client, they may be afraid to splurge on something because now their rates with you are going to go up as well. And I want their wedding to look dope because then that's going to make me look great.
Hmm.
So, like, that sort of didn't really make sense, right? For me, anyway. And so I charge a flat fee. I used to offer packages that most planners in the industry offer. So, full planning and design, partial planning, and month of coordination. I have a wonderful team of freelancers, shout out to them, that take our partial planning and our month of coordination. And I focus on the full planning and design. So that client that comes to us typically is in the 100,000 plus. And the reason is because if they're hiring me, and that takes up 50% of their budget, they're going to be stressed the entire planning process. I'm going to be stressed the entire planning process. The whole point of hiring us is to take the stress off of you, not to make you more stressed out. So that's kind of where I live in the financial piece of it. There are clients that come to our agency that just straight up are like, listen, I see your pricing. My pricing's published. I'm not that person that puts you through an hour-long consult. You fall in love with me. I fall in love with you. Then I hit you with the price and it's out of your budget. I don't play that game. I tell them upfront, this is what it costs. Um, Fortunately, I've been lucky that maybe like once a year someone tries to negotiate that with me. And that's when I know it's time to
Hmm.
back right out of that one.
Hmm.
I mean, good on them. It takes courage to ask someone, hey, I know that this is what your price is, but will you give me a discount on that? And absolutely not, because I'm not going to give them discounted work. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I like that. And so that kind of sets it up. There are planners and designers that are charging way more still, but you are definitely not what one would consider in the low markets or even in the middle range. You're dealing with couples that have good money to spend. Sure, a few times a year you're getting couples that are, the in the several 100,000 mark to do weddings and things like that. That's a great picture to kind of paint, and that's where I want people on this show that I've been saying this a lot. It's like I think the internet shows off the unicorns, the ones that it's like, yeah, I did Justin Bieber's wedding and I just did so and so, which is great. I'm great for that, and I think that that's needed to see. But I want a little bit more on the real side of like, hey, there's a lot of people out here doing weddings that it's like the wedding we did together was gorgeous. I mean, I don't know how much their budget was or anything like that, but I mean, they spent a really good chunk of money on me. They were doing a destination. The venue was gorgeous. The florals were insane. The food was insane.
Right.
Like, all of it was beautiful. And so painting that picture, like my goal here at the podcast is to help people get unstuck, untangled from the middle, and not just be in that place where they do have to say yes to things. And so I want to dig in with you. Just kind of did you start at this place where, hey, we've got a minimum X budget, the confidence? I mean, you did 1 year with another planner, but did you feel like you had to work your way through like the middle to get to where you're at? And just what did
Oh,
that
God,
what did
yes.
that story look like for you? Before we move forward in this episode, I want to tell you about brideandgroom.video. Brideandgroom.video is an editing house for wedding filmmakers to edit your films for you. You upload your footage, they edit it. I've been working with brideandgroom.video now for about a year, and I'm loving every single edit that they're putting out for me. They do my highlight films, my feature films. My favorite thing is just how amazing they are at communicating. They keep me up to date. They make it easy. Their system makes it easy for me to download my final films and save me that precious time that I need. So head over to the show notes and check out brideandgroom.video today. Now back into the show.
Oh, I had to start at the bottom. The middle would have been the dream. No, it's a lot of figuring it out, trial and error. Like I told you, I was taking everything on, and you just have to listen. As with any industry, the event and wedding industry is one where you have to earn your stripes. You just do, because the proof is in the pudding. And if your work looks like shit, it's because you haven't put in the work to get there. And you are so right about that middle place, because you've now started to establish your business. You've now started to have a reputation. You're in good with vendors and people in your market. And you're making enough money that you're not sweating all the time. Like, how am I going to get my bills paid? But how do you take it to that next level? So one is, I would say, pick a lane,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody isn't good at everything. Like, you can be decent at a lot of things, but if you're great at something, then that's where you should be putting your energy and focus, in my opinion. Now, shout out to people who are great at everything. I don't really know any in this business. They think they're great at everything, but that doesn't like make it so, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a proven track record, time after time, of exceeding expectations, you can start to raise your prices confidently. Not like, oh, I'm nervous, I'm not going to get as many clients. You're right, you're not going to get as many clients. You're going to get different kinds of clients, different caliber of clients. You're going to have your first consult with a client where you don't even talk about the fee, because they already know the fee. They're fine with the fee. They just want to know you and the service that you're going to provide to them. And people do that in different ways. They exhaust all of their resources on marketing. I've never done that. 14 years of owning Event Lab, I haven't paid $1 for marketing. I'm the marketing. I'm the boots on the ground. We're service providers, right? So my product is my work, and that's all that I have to offer. I don't do rentals on the side. I don't do florals in addition to my services. So they have to feel comfortable working with me for a year, to where they walk away from their wedding day not only ecstatic about the service that we provided, but I can't even tell you how many clients that are like, I can't believe you only charge X number of dollars for what you do. And they don't know that in the beginning, but at the end, they see it and they feel it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah,
know you run into that too.
I do. I mean, people ask me, as I'm not doing like, my work, it's in a higher end space, luxury space, whatever you want to call it. I'm not doing the weddings, where it's the top 0.1%, and I don't really want to be doing those. I'm so happy with where my brand is and what I'm charging. But like what you said, when people know, like, people come to me now because I have picked a lane, and I have put
Right.
myself out there and marketed in a specific way where they know, hey, if you want John to be there, it's going to cost a good amount of money, but the experience you're going to get. And so, the meetings change. Everything kind of, the vibe changes. The words I use change. The marketing, the networking, everything just kind of slowly changed to being like, oh yeah, I'm in this market now. I didn't have like just one breakout wedding that got me like, oh, this is the notoriety where, People Magazine and Harper's Bazaar and all the, like, that isn't
Right.
the story for the non-unicorns. I don't see a horn. I'm not a unicorn. I wish that I had that story, but I've seen the same kind of tactics on people like yourself that have broken out from that carousel that's in the middle, they're self-starters. They go get stuff done. They try, they fail fast. They take steps towards where they want to go. They know where they want to go. All these different things. And so you kind of mentioned it, it's like you did every kind of wedding. You said yes to everything. Was there kind of a time where you started to realize, yeah, I do have money. I'm not sweating if I can pay my bills, but I'm starting to get burned out. I'm starting to
Right.
not like this. Was there a time that happened? And if so, how'd you get yourself out of that?
Yeah, 100% there was. And I will tell you, it was when I started looking forward to Sunday, the day after the wedding, and not Saturday, the day of the wedding, where all of our blood, sweat, and tears gets to come together and culminate in this one big, beautiful event. I started looking forward to when it was all over. And that's when I knew I'm not doing the right type of events. So I had to I'm trying to really think about it because I
Hmm.
want to be intentional with this answer. You know, um, I kind of had to make a decision on the type of planner I was going to be because I hate to say like the type of weddings I was going to do, but I really wanted to decide the type of planner I was going to be because I saw what was out there and I saw like that really ethereal, beautiful, airy style, romantic. And honestly, that's not me. That's not me. That's not my husband. Like, our vibe is a little bit different, as you know, from working with me. I don't by any means think I'm like so edgy, but like, I mean, I have tattoos all over. I don't hide these things. And like, that's just kind of who I am, right? And I'm like, okay, so maybe there is an opportunity to start doing what like I want if on a personal level and on a professional level and marry those two together. And if I start putting it out there like that, then maybe those types of clients who are interested in that style might start seeking me out instead. And that's exactly what happened. And I think that that could happen with anyone. If you put yourself out there in a certain way and you say, this is who I am, you are just, people are going to gravitate towards that because it's that authenticity. People want that.
Yeah, and I recorded a podcast earlier today and talking about just the uniqueness that you specifically bring to the table. And, if you're brand new in this industry, you're still learning who you want to be and keep
Sure.
taking weddings, keep saying yes, keep, like if you have a check in your gut about a wedding, don't take it. But like, oh, okay, yeah, this one, that's a destination wedding. I'll try that. Do I like destinations? Oh, that's a couple that is super religious, do I like that? Or that's a couple that's super vibey or whatever. Like
Yep.
saying yes helped me to learn. And when I ask people, and I love how you said like what kind of planner did I want to be as opposed to like what kind of weddings do I want to do. That mindset
Right.
shift is so good because it's like I wanted to be a filmmaker and photographer that felt like I had experience and could help you enjoy your day. I remember with Hannah on the wedding day where we did together, there was, she couldn't find her vow book and it was started raining. We had to move the ceremony
Mm-hmm.
inside. You guys did such a good
Yep.
job about, it's like you've booked this venue for this outdoor orchard. It's not happening. The venue said no, there's no rain
Yep.
all day long. We're just kind of all in this pressure cooker of like, dang it, like this sucks. It's so
Yep.
nice right out there. Like, and I just
Clear
remember,
skies.
yeah, we're about to do the portraits of the family and it starts drizzling. And it's like, well, shoot, let's go under this canopy. It's not going to be as, and like all these things are kind of falling apart. And Hannah's doing a great job of keeping a good attitude. But, it's like we get back in the little cottage and she's like, it's about to be ceremony time and she cannot find her vow books. And she's like, where am I? Like I could see it like happening in real time. And I don't know if you even know this. Do you know this? Or,
I did not know she couldn't find her vow books.
okay.
She
So,
kept that from me.
well, I helped. And so like everyone's crammed into this cottage. She's got her bridesmaids. And I was like, hey, everybody, we're going to take a break. We're not taking any photos right now. Like I made the call, like we're not doing
Yeah.
any photos. Everybody let's hop out. Let's give her some air. go back to your, go back. There was a bedroom in the cottage. It was like, why don't you go just chill with your bridesmaids on, like, sit on the bed, take a minute. I'm going to find your vow books. Okay.
Yep.
And she just was able to go, okay, good. And like I saw her and breathe. And then I wasn't the one that found them, but they were under a thing. And I just went back in the room with her and I was just like, hey, we're not going to do any more family photos before the wedding. We're not going to do, you and Nick before that week. We're going to find a time. It's going to be okay. And I could go into that experience knowing we're going to figure something out. I knew working with you all day, like Rena's going to move. We're going to make this work after the ceremony. We're not timeline.
Yep.
I'm not so stuck on like, we have to get this done before the ceremony. And I went back in the room and I saw her, I put my hand on her shoulder and I just said, hey, why are we here today? And she was like, oh yeah, I'm marrying the love of my life. And I was like,
Yes.
that's right. We're
I
gonna
love that.
we're gonna do this and you're gonna have, and she just like stopped, looked at me with tears in her eyes and was just like, thank you so much. And I was like, I'm
Yes.
gonna see you at your wedding. You take 10 minutes, get a drink, go to whatever you need. It's you time. And just so happened the sun came out after the ceremony. We got better photos and it was just like all worked out.
Right.
But like I
Right.
wanted to be the kind of person that was real and really there and not just about my photos for Instagram and I need my reel and the album and
Mm.
whatever. And it's like, I internally was like, oh dear God, what are we going to do? I'm freaking out a little bit, even after doing 400, 500 weddings at this point. But
Yep.
just, I knew who I wanted to be. And that's what the point of that story. And it's like, it took me time to get to that point. And I look at someone like you, we walk in and I'm just like, okay, she doesn't need me to like annoy her with all the, like, she trusts me already. We've already met on the
Yes.
phone. Like we knew like you were doing your thing. I told you what I needed and it worked. And I want to ask you just kind of like for the people listening, this was my first time working with you. I mean, I had done a call or two with you beforehand just to kind of, it's hard coming into it like blind. Most of the time I'm working with a planner that I haven't worked with before, especially on a destination. It's a couple that found me or saw my work on Instagram. And so as a planner with a new team coming in,
Hmm.
and kind of shifting the conversation to that side of things, as a vendor, what kinds of things have you developed over the years that you're looking for, that you see on a wedding weekend when you say, I know the kinds of weddings or a kind of planner I want to be? What types of things stand out to you when you're building out your vendor team or your referral list, or you work a wedding with a new person and you're like, oh, I'm adding them to my list? Like, what kinds of things really stand out to you?
Yeah. So I love doing that actually because when you get to work with new vendors in this space, and if we're just working with the same people all the time, we're just going to kind of start doing the same things all the time. And there are some really cool vendors that always want to try like the next unique, fun, exciting thing. And like you guys can go on that journey together. And I love that. For me, when a client comes to us with a roster of vendors already, they're probably not the right fit for Event Lab. And the reason is because when you're hiring us, typically you would hire probably your planner first type situation. When you're hiring us, it's because you like our style, you've done your homework, you see what we're about. And so then we can start recommending some really great people. Or if you bring us some people. So Hannah actually was the one that brought you to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
She
Mm-hmm.
said, what do you think of John Bunn? I said, his work is gorgeous. Like, what's his vibe? And I think, did her friend work with you maybe?
It's so
Or a
crazy.
friend of a
Yeah,
friend?
yep, yeah. Her friend who was in the wedding, was a friend of a bridesmaid of a wedding I did in Charleston. And
Okay. Okay.
she
I
reached
knew it
out to
was like
me,
down the line.
couldn't afford me. She just had followed me and I DM'd me and was like, my friend Hannah's getting married. I told her about you. She loves you. Just, that. So anyway, back to you.
Yes. Well, no, because it was awesome. I can now being in the destination space. So, which you actually made a great point of people taking destination weddings and saying, do I like this or do I not like this? it's always assumed that people are going to want to do weddings all over the world and events all over the world. And that is so far from the truth. The amount of work and research that we have to put in
Mm-hmm.
to a destination that we have never been to, for me, the planning process is the same, right? But I still have, I mean, it's like double the work, right? Figuring out all of the nuances of all of these spaces, the logistics, the legalities. I mean, there's like fire codes and things that are different that vary by state, forget about by country, right? And so, you know, I love like seeing who planners in those markets are using. But for you and I on that wedding that we came together on, we were both destination. It was from all of us were really.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting to put together a team of professionals is like it's where as a planner I can like relax a little bit and I can focus on what I do, which is the design and the creative components of it. There are some planners who don't do design, which I totally respect, appreciate what they do. Um, they might outsource that or they just might not offer that. They might lean on their vendor team. So if it's their fabricators or their decor companies for that, um, my agency does that internally. We do all the design from the ground up. So we take the client's ideas and we kind of pull all that. So working with vendors you've never worked with before is, of course, a little bit, terrifying, I would say. But to see your body of work and all of their type of work and understanding like their products and just knowing that now I have the confidence and the tools to, if somebody fucks something up, I know how to fix it. The client isn't even going to know,
Mm-hmm.
this whole vow book situation. This is the first I'm hearing about that.
I took care
But,
of it.
you know, it's like these types of things. That's why you want to work with other professionals in your career because we all have the same end goal, which is to make the day feel as seamless as possible so that the client is over the moon at the end. I always love when, I know this sounds weird, but like when 10 things go wrong on the back end, and then the next day you're talking to the bride and she's like, kind of hungover, but like has that post party depression and they've they're eating their cake for breakfast and they're like, "Oh my God, it was the best night of our lives. Everything went perfectly, nothing
Mm-hmm.
went wrong." And I'm like, "Yes, babe, you're right. Nothing did go
Mm-hmm.
wrong."
Mm-hmm.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah, I love that. And I love like that, especially on the wedding we work together, just coming together. And, for me, when I'm working with someone new, as I've elevated out of the middle, it's like I remember Hannah reaching out specifically and saying, "Hey, we're looking." And one of my first questions on my questionnaire is who is your designer? Who's your planner? Like I need to know that from a photography, videography side, because I've worked
Right.
with planners that don't deal well with people that's not their team. They don't treat you well. They don't bring you in. They don't make you
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
taken care of. And so I was like, I don't remember if I think yeah she already had you booked, and then we all met and green lighted everything. But
Yes.
we talked several times on Zoom beforehand. You were in certain meetings and stuff, and I was like, I got this vibe, and like my goal when I got to town is like, hey, Rena, I'm in town, I've landed, I'm here, just so you know, like not trying to be too much, but also trying to just let you know, like, hey, I'm good. I wasn't supposed to really be at the rehearsal, but it's like, hey, we're gonna
Oh,
pop
I'm
over to
so
the
glad you were.
rehearsal.
It was cool.
Well, good. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, we're getting there, lay of the land. Is this planner going to be cool? She seemed cool. Is it going to, and then it's like, oh, we get that. Oh, okay, this is going to be fun. Like, we're going to have fun. Bride and groom are cool. Planner's great. And, my job, whether or not the planner is cool or not, is to that's who's going to be there, so I'm going to have a great attitude regardless.
Yeah.
And so I love hearing your side of it, and I also love thinking couples think the day went seamlessly even though we know what goes on behind the
Yeah.
scenes. And so as you progress with a new bunch of vendors, or as you're growing, like um for you, what are the green flags, especially with other vendors, where it's like I'm gonna put them on my list? Is it anything specific, or is it like you've worked with certain people? What causes you to say, Okay. If I get another couple, like they're going over there on the list, I know if I get another couple like this, I'm reaching out to them. Like, do you feel like once you're out of the middle that you've already got your list, and then slowly we can add more people, maybe? Or kind of what's your whole mindset towards how you're gonna pick as you're designing the vendor team for a wedding? Have you ever nailed the perfect shot and then wasted hours searching for music that doesn't sound like it came from the bargain bin? I've been filming weddings for almost 20 years, and that used to be me. For over a decade now, I've used MusicBed exclusively because the quality is just different. Real artists, real music. 70,000 plus curated songs designed for filmmakers. And now they've added MusicBed sounds. 150,000 plus premium sound effects from world-class sound designers, including Oscar-winning talent. Their AI search tools make it incredibly quick to find exactly what your edit needs. Filter by genre, mood, BPM, and even song key. It saves me hours every single week. If your couples are investing in luxury films, don't pair them with cheap-sounding audio. Hit the show notes below to get your free trial of MusicBed and start leveling up your films today. MusicBed, the soundtrack your films deserve.
I think it's always going to evolve, and it has to, because if I only use the same people or the same people only used me, it's going to get mundane and stagnant, and our work is going to look that way. And, we already have so much at our fingertips in terms of visuals that we walk a very fine line between giving someone exactly what they saw in that picture and making it uniquely theirs and uniquely ours. And so when working with vendors, big green flag for me is team player. You have got to be a team player. If we have a call or we have a Zoom or we even have an email exchange where it's your world and the rest of us are just living in it, oh God, it's like, here we go. And there is always vendors, that make it difficult. I'll just be honest because, for any given event, you have between 15 and 30 vendors. That's the
Mhm.
reality of it. And I'm managing all of them. And they all, which is great, want to do the very best job possible. But they have to be willing to work with the rest of the team. We are a team, whether they like it or not. We are on that day. And we all have to have the same end goal in mind. I can't even tell you how many venues, how many vendors I've worked with that want to maybe see us not succeed. And I'm like, how could you not want to see us win for our client? Like, that's the end goal in all of this. There are venues that I will not even recommend to clients. There are photographers that I will not even recommend to clients. There are florists I will not recommend to clients. Like, that's just the way that it is. And, everyone has a bad day. But this is not that. This is a performance-based business, and we have to set that aside because this is the most magical day of someone's life. Period. We're not getting that moment back. We're not going back in post and getting those memories back. Like, it's just not going to happen.
And I hear you say like there are certain people that will not get recommended to you. Practically speaking, like are there any things that have specifically happened, especially on the photo video side? Because I think I mean, you can say any, but like you said, there's photographer that you don't work with, won't
Hmm.
work with. I'm just interested to know for you, like
Hmm.
what thing, not a team player. What is that? How has that happened to you in real life in these
Yeah.
weddings?
So, um, as you know from working together, that I put together a really detailed timeline. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on the couple's desires for the day. And then I bring them back to reality when they're like, oh, that really is only going to take 5 minutes. I'm like, no, babe, no. I'm like, if you want me to put it in the timeline this way, I can, but that's not how it's really going to go. So I put together the timeline. then I reach out to the photographer and videographer and I say, let's build this based on your photography plan for the day because we need those photos and those videos to feel relaxed and not stressful
Hmm.
because they're going to look stressed out in their
Yeah.
photos. And the fact of the matter is that we all want this wedding to look great in print afterwards because that's all we have at the end, right? So when I work with a photographer and they say, we're not going to do that, this is
Mm.
how we're going to do it. And that's not what the client desires. And that's not what I know as a professional is going to work the best. And then they're difficult. They're not mindful of time. If the couple needs to be somewhere at a certain time, let's say for their grand entrance, for example, and I have the wedding party lined up, I have the parents lined up, I have talent ready to go. Maybe the photographer and videographer aren't from the same team, and now the photographer is ready to go. The content creator is ready to go, and the photographer has just decided that they're going to take them somewhere that's 30 minutes away for
Hmm.
photos. And now we're all just, it's your world. We're all just living in it type thing. It's rude,
Hmm.
and it's that way like in any business, but in this business where every minute matters because sadly in the US, which is such a bummer, a wedding is like 5 hours. In other places like in Europe, it's an all day thing. It's an
Hmm.
all night thing. And, we don't really have that. It's such a short period of time. Even that whole long day of 12, 13 hours, you blink and it's over. And just to the lack of respect for everybody's time, um, that'll get you blacklisted real fast.
Whenever I was getting going, it was just like, oh, if I wear, I mean, obviously I need to wear things that, fit into a higher end vibe, and I need to know how to use my words, and I know how to be polite and have etiquette. But it really just comes down to a lot of common sense things mixed with like, if I'm having a bad day at a wedding, I'm on set for the day. I'm on, it's live. We're live. So that
Right,
has to push pause, and I have to be the elevated version of the real John Bunn, which is a little more chill than, it's like I'm on at a wedding. And my goal is, how can I make Rena think, wow, this guy was so helpful. This guy listened. He was a team player. Like all these things, common sense practices. Like I'm not just over here trying to like kiss your butt, but at the same time, I'm a professional. I speak up when I need what I need. Hey, Rena, that you've got 20 minutes for this over here. It will take
yep,
me 30, but I'm doing that 3 weeks before the wedding, not on the wedding day.
correct.
And I just know, like, I mean, it's a live event. Things change. The sun comes out at different times. Whenever, where we did the wedding together, it was super green. Everything's green. Sun is blasting green everywhere. You're not necessarily thinking about like green on skin tones. I'm the pro when it comes to photo. I need to find a
Right.
place to take those photos where it's not super green, where it's not going to
Hmm.
get rained on, where like there's all these different variables. But at the end of the
Yep.
day, it's like my mindset the whole time is, I'm part of Rena's team. I'm going to make her look good. I am not going to say, where the heck is Rena in front of the bride? I'm not going to, none of that.
Right.
I am here to help the team win.
I'm
And
everywhere. I'm
you are
everywhere.
everywhere. And you didn't know, there was never a time where I was like, where the heck is Rena? You
Oh my
guys
gosh.
had your ish together. But the point is, like,
Yeah.
I say this a lot in the idea of like the fitness world. You don't show up at the gym on day one, do something fit people do, and then all of a sudden have washboard abs. It's
Right.
a process. It's
Right.
years of good decisions mainly.
Yep.
It's you mess up and have cake, that's fine. Like you had a bad day, fine. Get back up on the horse. Get back to the gym. Get back to the whole foods diets that you need, whatever it is. And over time, by doing things that fit people do, you'll look up in the mirror and be like, wait a second, I'm a fit person. When did this
Hmm.
happen? And
Hmm.
so, like, I look at you and what you're doing and how many weddings you've probably done at this point and how you continue. How do you stay growing when it comes to, like, you have these areas of our business. We have our work. Your work was beautiful, your design was beautiful. You
Thank
have
you.
your branding, Event Lab, the website, the vibe that you put out on that, which is great. And then your networking as a planner. What are you doing? Because people seem to come to the planners like, hey, I want to be your friend. I need your stuff. I remember hearing on the other podcast of you, it's like nobody was reaching out until you built a name for yourself.
Yeah.
But what are you doing, and what do you kind of see happening in networking in 2026? Like, how are you staying focused on growing your network of not only just vendors, but people knowing that you exist, in 2026, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so I try to keep a really open door policy for collaboration. Um, it's my thing. I love it. There are so many planners doing it and doing it differently, but doing it great and starting to do it their way. And I absolutely love it. And I will tell you, like, what I'm seeing now, and I have to give credit shockingly to COVID here, because before COVID it was very different, but since COVID, where all of us were like, oh shit, we're out of a career, what are we going to do? I guess we're all going to like drive for Uber at this point, like who knows, right? um I have really noticed a collaboration amongst the planners that I choose to associate with, and that choose to associate with me too, because it's mutual, right? And we really collaborate a lot in terms of, hey, my bride had this idea, I've never done it before, do you
Mm-hmm.
think it's cool? Is it going to stick? Is this not, is there a reason I haven't seen it done a lot, is because it's not going to land? Or I'll reach out to a vendor, and I am never afraid. Like, I am not too good to ask a question. Like, I don't understand that. The fake it till you make it thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I can tell you're faking it. Like, what are you talking about? So, I ask, like, how do we get here? How do we arrive here? And I have a lot of planners that reach out to me and they're like, who do we like for photo booths these days? Like, because the last two people that I worked with, the girl took a 45-minute break and like the photo booth isn't going to run itself. Like, these are these minor things that we're responsible for, right? And so, just keeping that collaboration open and that sense of accessibility to me, like, I work with only freelancers now. I used to have employees, and that didn't work out. I'll just leave it there. And I work with so many amazing freelancers that are absolutely wonderful. Um, and a lot of them have their own businesses, and they'll come to me because they feel comfortable enough to and say, I just worked with this vendor and they were awesome. And then I'll tell this person and they'll tell this person. And that's kind of the way of the world in certain markets. And when I work in other markets, if I'm on the West Coast or I'm in New England, or, even us working together in the Highlands, you really just have to connect with those vendors and say, like, listen, here's who I am, here's how I do it. I never want to talk someone out of their money, but I also want to be like, listen, this is going to be the vibe. We're going to be working together for a long time. Are you down with that or not? Because if they're not, we saw you and I worked together on that. There was one particular vendor that tried to make our lives a living hell. And how much fun is that? It sucks. And had they just been on board, and what's great is that even though unfortunately the bride knew leading up to it because she was dealing with them directly as well, and her family was, it still made for a beautiful day. Could you imagine had they not been on our asses?
Mm-mm.
What a dream it would have been for all of us. Like,
It was
and
it was crazy. And it's funny how, like, a lot of people out there, you're like, "Oh, I'm stuck in the middle. I want to get out. What do I do?" It's the slow and steady being a good person, knowing who you are, knowing who you want to work with, and word gets around. It just does.
Yes, it
Like,
does.
I did a wedding here in Oklahoma. The stationer, Ink and Press Co. is her name, Michaela. I had her on the podcast. She's amazing. I think that
Cool.
she was saying you should connect with her. I'll shoot you her message. This is how it works.
See, I love that. I'm
Um,
like, yeah, connect me with her.
but like, I think that it was close to six figures that they spent just on stationery, paper, custom menu, like for this one wedding that
Wow.
like is my biggest one of the year last year, I think so. And it's like I got the wedding because I've built a relationship with the planner over the years, been good to her, took weddings during COVID for super cheap for her just to help her, like a lot of collaborations. She helped me lead a
Mm,
workshop, like did all these things. But Michaela, the stationer, sent me a text after working with her, and I show up to that wedding. I've got a video camera. I'm just doing video, and I'm like, "What can I film for you? I know that they're spending a butt ton of money on this wedding. What can I film for you with my nice cameras to hook you up?" And she's like, "Can you get me setting these place cards at the reception? Can you get?" And I obviously she's not my number one
love it.
client, but like I went above and beyond, and I have got all these details for her, and she the next week was like, "Hey, just so you know, I passed your name on to like three or four of my planner friends because of how great it was to work with you." And it's like,
See?
whether those turn into bookings sooner or later or not, like I've been in the business long enough, you've been in the business, that like good things just start to kind of happen. Like,
Yeah.
I hope we work together again soon. I'm telling people about you. I'm coming to Florida in a couple weeks actually, and going on a cruise, and I want to meet up with you and your
Ooh,
husband or
let's link
something and hang
up.
out. But
Yes.
the idea is I just like you. You're a cool person. You're the kind of person I want to
Thanks.
work with. It's like
I like
I'm
you
not
too.
I'm not trying to like get I don't like if you find a couple that is like, oh yeah, that they'll love John. Great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm booking 15 weddings a year. I'm fine.
you're good. Yeah.
I want to work with you again because that would be fun. But also I think a lot of people come into the vendor space and they think, oh, I'm in these doing all these crappy weddings and Rena's doing good weddings, so I'm gonna go DM her and cold call her and ask her for something. And so my next question for you would be just like, how are people approaching you right now? And
Yeah.
what is driving you crazy? Question. And then is anything like if someone was wanting to get in with somebody that is doing what you're doing, what is the best way? Because I have my
Yeah.
thoughts too. I have thoughts and I want to know what yours are. How much time do you waste chasing down contracts, invoices, or trying to keep all of those client details organized? As wedding pros, we waste so much time, and that is where Inly comes in. It's simple, beautiful, and actually made for creatives. With Inly, you can send polished proposals and contracts, manage invoices, set up forms, and capture leads. And the best part, it's all in one dashboard. No confusing dashboards, no bloated features you'll never use, just a CRM that works with your business, not against it. Check out Inly.com and try it for yourself. And don't forget to check the show notes and use promo code JOHN for 10% off. Check out Inly today. Head over to the show notes and go to INLY.com. That's Inly.com today. What is the best way in with somebody that's at your caliber? Do people cold call, email, DM you that are like, "Hey, I'm a photographer. I'd love to do work with you. I'll give you a free wedding." Like, what gives you the ick when it comes to vendors reaching out to you saying, "Put me on your list. I want something. I want to be
Mm,
referred by you." Do you still get that kind
yeah.
of stuff happening?
Yeah, I do. And I have no problem like being honest about how people, will come to me and say, "Hey, I'll give you, a commission or I'll do this." And there are certain vendors that make sense. What I love how you said, with this particular stationaire that you were working with, and you had offered her, some things just to kind of like help her out. And then obviously she's going to be recommending you. Like, I love that. You were actually one of like the first photographers that said, like, "Hey, let me know if you want me to get my crew together and make you a reel." But I thought that was so cool. And I have to tell you, Since then, I have started asking, because again, I'm not like afraid to have these conversations, right? I've started asking like photographers and videographers, like, would you be able to like capture some content for us? Because, you know, your photos and videos are absolutely gorgeous, right? But like sometimes people do like to see that behind the scenes stuff. Getting on my vendor list is easy if you are one, great at what you do, two, you stay in your lane, three, you're a team player. And then probably I would have to say, like, I don't want anyone to ever work outside of their means, but exceeding expectations is something I am always going to do, and I expect from every vendor I recommend. I put a lot of pressure on myself, but it's nothing I'm not willing to do, right? I'm sure you saw me at that wedding. I was everywhere doing everything. I would never have expectations of anyone that I wasn't willing to also do myself.
I love that. Yeah, and at the wedding it was just like the food, like dinner wasn't where it was supposed to be or something when it, and you kept just being like, "I'm so sorry, we're going to get you." And I was like, "I don't like I even said
Yeah.
to my team, like I always say to my team beforehand, if there's food, if there's no food, there is zero complaints. There's no asking the planner when the meal's going to be ready. There's no like annoyed, "Oh, where's our food?" Like that's not how we roll. Pack some protein shakes, pack some bars, whatever. And it's like it's too important to make a good impression to lose it on one small thing. But yeah, you were everywhere, and I think that like what I was going to add, my advice to people and what has worked for me is I think a lot of times when I was in the middle, I thought I've got to go get in touch with that planner that is 5 or 6 steps ahead of where I was at, instead of building
Mm,
relationships with people that were maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of where I was, or just like forcing my way into rooms that I did not belong in quite yet. It's just like calling up Rena and being like, "Hey, I want to be on your list." It's like, "Who are you? We haven't worked a wedding together. I don't know anybody that you don't
yeah.
know." And a lot
Yeah.
of, it's like I'm coming into a wedding like working with someone like you. It's like, "Oh, she does weddings all over based in Florida, but weddings the same caliber and quality that I do. Let's see
Hmm.
if we're a good fit. And by the end of this, like I want to build relationships. So sooner than later, that'll happen again." It's a
Yeah.
slower and steadier approach. I'm taking and giving sneak peeks the next day. I'm asking you to get in a picture with the florist and you with the couple. I'm trying like
Yeah.
anything within my means. My main goal is taking care of the couple. But if it's like, "Oh, hey, you guys fix up an area," me asking, where's the focal point, what's the best like centerpiece that you're most excited about, where, like
Yes.
that kind of stuff goes a long way. And
Oh, you
what
have no idea.
happens is, yeah, you start making, you start I've noticed that in my career there was always like 10 to 20% of my weddings that were just a little out of the league that I was currently in, and I would really try to make an impression with the vendors working at that wedding, and then being at the networking event and seeing them again or whatever. And just, my goal isn't, "Hey, Rena needs to be a marketing billboard for me," but I need her to know the kind of person I am. I'm going to try to get in the same room again, and I just want her to have good green flags when she thinks of me. And if that turns into something good, but I know something, if I were a total jerk bag on the wedding, how many people are you going to tell about that? How many people are you
Right.
going to say, "Do not hire John? Oh, God, he was the
I
worst."
wouldn't be
Like,
on your pod right now.
yeah, for real. I don't invite people on the pod that I've made mad. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Um,
typically.
and so we all do this in the industry, but like
Yeah.
just take your time and build relationships as other people are growing. Like the $1.5 million wedding I did this last year was with a planner that we kind of grew together over the last 10 years with each other. Our
Cool.
businesses are on similar, and that's the kind of thing. I don't think it's a good idea to just cold call Rena to after listening to this episode and saying, "Hey, can I be on your list?"
I will tell you, like, it is very easy to get overwhelmed by what you're seeing on social media. And I want to go back to a point that you made very early on in the conversation, which is that people are always putting out like that very best, or maybe not even their very best, but like that next level. They're trying to like zoom in to make it look like it's this big grand thing. Like, really, really look at what you want to do for yourself. Because I will tell you, like, when you are putting out a beautiful body of work, the right clients do find you. If you're putting out all this like epic content on your social media and then you aren't that plus in real life, you are setting yourself up for failure. People
Mm-hmm.
are going to see it from a mile away, and it is going to be like the fastest way to like the dissolution of your business ever. But, this is a creative space, and you always have to be more creative than like the next trend. And so that's a lot. It's a lot. This is a big, big industry, especially one in the social media age that we live in, where there is just content for clients on repeat to see that they want. And it's edited and it's filtered and it's AI'd and it's everything else. And so if you're putting that out there and then you can't deliver that in real life, you're screwed, babe.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. Yeah. Well, man, I could sit here all day and talk. I know I want to be respectful of your time because, you mentioned how you don't want to waste people's time. If people want to follow along, see your work, what's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, so the best place to find us right now is on Instagram, obviously, Event Lab One, the numerical one, or on our website, eventlab1.com.
I hope our paths cross again soon. I'll talk to you after we record about me being in Florida in a couple of weeks, but we did it.
Yeah,
We
that they
podcasted.
will. We did it. Thanks for having me, John. I really appreciate it.
I'm so pumped about that conversation with Rena. Thanks again for being on. Go follow her. I think we can learn a lot from this episode. I think we can learn that the tortoise always beats the hare, and we can slow down, stop being so thirsty with planners, and try to be the person that people say, wow, I want to work with them again. They are such a team player. If this episode was helpful to you, do me a favor and share it with somebody that needs it. There's so many good things going on in the shifting focus world. I am continually excited about bringing you people to listen to on this podcast and having episodes that help you get unstuck from the middle. Lastly, thanks to VidFlow, our show's sponsor. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, I'll see you. You know how much I love shooting weddings, but you know what I don't love? Wasting hours culling and editing. That is why I use Imagine.ai. It's literally learned my style. It culls my photos, edits them, and even opens them in Lightroom with the sliders exactly where I'd want them. And now they're in beta for video color grading, which is an absolute game changer. Stop wasting time and get back to doing what you love. Check the show notes to grab 1,500 free edits today.